Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jay Tilson and I'm Director of Strategy at Axis, as well as being co-founder of the SSE Forum. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of my video series called The Zero Trust Architect. As I've talked about before in a previous episode, Zero Trust is all about the philosophy of never trust and always verify. And today I'm going to be talking about Enterprise VPN. My concern with Enterprise VPN is it does not follow that philosophy. Basically, you trust your users and you put them straight on your network. They get an IP address and they can go wherever they want, whenever they want. And truly, we need to start thinking about this differently in the world we live in today. No longer is that okay. There's too much risk of insider threat and ransomware, and we really need to consider doing something different. So I'm going to talk about how we did things in the past and how I reckon we should do things in the future when we consider zero trust. So firstly, let's move on to how we do things today. So let's look at Kevin. So Kevin is a hybrid worker. He works from home some of the days a week, and then some of the other days a week he's in the office. But this particular day he's at home and he needs access to a multitude of systems across your corporate environment. He needs access to a VoIP solution so that he can use the phone when he's at home. He needs access to a file server. He needs access to some finance applications and some engineering applications. He basically needs to work as if he would work in the office on those other days when he's in. But he also needs access to external applications outside of that corporate environment. So he needs access to things like Salesforce. There's going to be some systems in AWS and GCP and Azure. He uses Microsoft Teams. He uses Office 365. And we really need to try and deliver those things in a way that he can work. But let's look at the way in which we do things today. So I'm going to try and draw, so please bear with me. So Kevin logs into his laptop, connects over the internet. He's then going to go into a VPN concentrator. He will then traverse through some kind of DDoS defense system, some NAT-based system, then through some kind of SSL decryption system, through into some form of IPS, and then probably through another set of firewalls and some ACLs if we're lucky. But then he's going to get dumped straight on the corporate network, straight on your LAN and your WAN, and he's going to traverse over your LAN and your WAN to get into those systems he needs access to. So it'll be given an IP address by your legacy VPN solution, and he can pretty much go wherever he wants, whenever he wants. If you've been smart, you will have some form of ACLs on the network. We all know that they're difficult to manage and difficult to troubleshoot if there are problems, but we also know that we need to be secure, so more than likely they're configured. But he's still going to have a lot of access across a whole environment, and it's going to be, I guess, really kind of open for him to do whatever he wants. If he does get compromised and he gets hit by ransomware or anything, he will be able to spread that across your environment. Add to that, additionally, that he also needs to get to these applications out here, AWS, Salesforce, etc. So he's still going to, in more cases likely than none, you're going to be backcalling. So he's still going to go through all of these applications. He's going to go on your WAN, and then this is going to be messy, but he's going to come out in this. He'll go along through here. He'll go back through all of these systems, back out to the internet, and then he'll get access into, say, Salesforce or AWS, Azure, GCP. But again, he's backhauling. You're basically going to send him through all of these systems onto your network, and then he'll return back out in a similar route back out to the internet. So very complicated, very difficult to maintain. You've got all this hardware here that you're having to look after, feed and water, and you've got the risk of him just being dumped straight on your network. So let's look at things, how we can do things moving forward. And bear with me, trying to scroll around on this screen is difficult. So again, we'll pick this box. Now, with the Atmos platform, the way Axis do things is very different. So we install a lightweight connector on your virtual environment near the application that you want to publish. Now that can be on Hyper-V, VMware, or any of the cloud-based solutions as well. We can install that connector. Now that connector creates an outbound connection into the Atmos platform. So it'll create outbound connection into the Atmos platform. I'll only draw a few in, otherwise it'll get really messy. Into the Atmos platform here. And then the applications are published via that connector outbound connections only. And then Kevin, he will connect over the internet the same. He will connect into the Atmos platform. That's where the brain of all of this is. And it will connect those two connections together, and it will give Kevin access into all the things he needs access to. So it can posture check him based on the posters that you configure. So you can check whether he's got his virus checker installed and it's running. You can check whether he's on the domain, whether he's got a domain certificate. You can connect whether his machine's encrypted or not. You can check all of these things before you actually connect him. You can then add him into an IDP, so it can either be an Azure IDP or Okta or many of the other famous ones. You can use that, or even the Axis have an IDP themselves. So you check Kevin's Kevin, you check his posture's okay, you tie the two ends together, and then you give him access into those applications. The SSE platform that we have also has a secure web gateway, so you can also secure access to Salesforce and all those other cloud applications. We can also check whether he's going and block him going to anything that's illegal or immoral that the company doesn't want to give him access to. And all of this is configured in one easy to use platform, one pane of glass with a one data lake. So there's visibility across the whole platform, and that's really where the power is. And you can, with this solution, you can get rid of all of this kind of legacy hardware and applications. So there's no feeding and watering. There's no maintenance. There's no cost for that hardware. But the most important thing is he's not put on your network. He does not get an IP address. He can't go wherever he wants, whenever he wants. He literally gets access just into that application from his machine with all those posture checks, checks against IDP, etc. And that's the secure way of doing it. That's the zero trust mentality, not giving access to everything on the network. And that's pretty critical in the world we live in today. I hope you found this useful. I hope that it's opened your eyes a little bit into the way that Zero Trust can help you in the future. If you have any questions or want to know any more, please reach out and let me know. Thanks for listening.